Hello and welcome to my shed and welcome to my channel. And I've gone up a scale this time. I normally build 148 scale aircraft. I've gone up to a 132nd with this. Now I built probably 3 of these Focke Wulf Fw190s in the past. I've built a 172nd scale and 2 148s, and I think one of the 148s is on my channel actually. And I don't purposely go out to buy these Fw190s. It just happens to be that a kit appears and it gets a good review and I fancy having a go at it. Now that's why I bought this actually, because I've had some time on the internet checking it out, and from what I can gather there's a good feedback on this kit. It's unusual for a Revell kit because sometimes Revell kits can be a little bit up and down with their quality, etc. But apparently this particular one here, this F8 version, is quite a nice kit to put together. So I thought to myself, I might treat myself to it. Now I did plan to have a bit of me time with this, and what I mean by me time is to kick that camera into touch and go off camera and build it myself. But I thought I might make some sort of video of the actual build. Now normally when I show an actual project being done, I tend to go off camera, build the sub assembly, and then I come back with it, go through the instructions on how it went together, and then I would follow that through with some clips of me spraying that sub assembly. But I've decided to sort of cut down on the camera work with this. So what I plan to do is show you the contents of the box, show you the things that I use in the way of glues and tools, and then I'll probably do a pictorial sort of build of this, and that will save me having to come down this rather cold shed at this time of year to set me camera up and do footage of me spraying and chatting away really. But I will come back on camera at the end of the actual build. In fact, I might end up just showing you a clip of me spraying the final airframe with a matte varnish, and I'll come back and have a chat with you when it's on the turntable and just basically give my thoughts on the kit. So sit back and relax, and we'll take the contents out of the box and take a gander at what all the fuss is about. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, what we've got is a Revell 132nd scale Focke Wulf Fw190, and it's the F8 version. Now I, along with a lot of other modelers, aren't all that keen on Revell's boxes. They're very flimsy affairs, they're end opening, and they're a bit of a pain to stack your sprues in. Now I came across this idea off another guy off the internet, and what he'd done was actually just slice around the actual box art part of the box, and ran a bit of tape around the ends as well to make sure that it stays in one piece. Now this is a lot easier then to sort of stack the sprues, but I've made a homemade sprue rack, which I find a godsend actually, and while I'll be taking these sprues out, I'll be stacking them into that rack, and then I'll actually show you the actual rack once we've done this actual sort of inbox review. So first things first, Revell's instructions. Now they've upped their game lately. They've actually included some coloured instructions in their kits, but for some reason or other, this particular kit here, they seem to have economised. This kit is quite a reasonably priced kit actually for a 132nd, so they've obviously economised with the actual printing costs, and they've gone back to the old type of instructions here. Now I find Revell's instructions okay, but I find they put too much information on one page. It could do with making the booklet probably twice the size it is, and because of that I tend to go around and highlight the areas that I need to make myself known, because I've highlighted here that I can do 2 types of undercarriage affairs, and I've decided to do this type A. So I've highlighted that, and I'll put an X in the one I'm not interested in, and I've gone through the instructions with this, and I put these large X's here just to inform me that I have no need to sort of follow those. And basically it just sort of highlights the part numbers as well, because it's annoying if you overlook a part and you have to go back on yourself. Now paint wise, we've got Revell's paint system here in the way of letters. I'll cross-reference these with Vallejo Model Air paints, which is what I use. So Vallejo's alternative shade or exact shade is written down here, as you can see here. Now I do this because it's a lot easier to sort of fall back on when you're ready to spray a part and you haven't got to keep referencing it and just double checking, etc. There are some paint codes here where they are informing you to mix two paints. I don't bother with that unless I'm making an old bespoke sort of colour. I don't tend to mix my paints, so I find the nearest colour in the Vallejo range. So that's the instructions, and I believe they've given me so many versions. We've got we've got two versions by the looks of it that I can copy, or I can go off and do my own. So what I intend to do here, I don't know. I mean, the actual building of the airframe, it tends to be like generic colours for the cockpit areas and things, so I'm not too bothered about that. But when the actual fuselage is ready to be sprayed, I will then determine what sort of colours I would do them. Other than that, that's about it. There's a nice little write-up here actually about the plane itself, basically the history of it and why this version is an F8. Nice little bit of write-up there. It's always worth reading. What's this? This is safety advice. This is to tell you not to stab yourself in the eye with a knife. In these decals, I don't normally have a problem with Revell decals. They're not as good as a lot of the other manufacturers, but nonetheless I very rarely get any trouble with them breaking. I soak these in warm water with a bit of soap liquid, and the soap liquid acts as a lubricant and it also breaks down the surface tension of the water, and it allows them to actually soak properly. There's quite a lot of decals there. Obviously I won't be using all those, it depends on the version I decide to do. It would be nice for these to be wrapped around in tissue paper and have their own separate bag, but they're not, unfortunately. Right, so what we've got here are the clear parts. Now you'll probably notice that I've highlighted the actual frame numbers. It saves me having to look for them each time I pick them up. Even though I've got a sprue rack, sometimes I'll put them back in the wrong place. So I'll highlight them with a bit of masking tape, and that way I know I'm not rifling around trying to find the right sprue or part and threatening to break something. I believe there's two different versions of the canopy here. There's one with a slight bow to it, I suppose you could do. It's a bit more bellied up on the top there. I've got a feeling I've chosen that one to use. All in all, you know, the clarity of the plastic's pretty good. I've had a look at these up close and they're pretty good. So the clear parts are great. Now I tend to try and keep those separate, even though I've got a sprue rack, so that they don't get damaged. So what have we got here? Yeah, we've got a wing that's come away, that doesn't matter. Now this is being offered with a stand, that's nice. This is something that they used to issue out on airfix kits, particularly the dogfight doubles that I used to buy as a youngster. It's a nice touch for them to put a stand in, but chances are I ain't going to use it, but nonetheless it might come in handy for another model perhaps, I don't know. It's probably a generic base anyway, so that there we won't be using. That I'm adamant about, so that there can be put to one side, so we don't need that one. This is where the part of the wings come off here. Doesn't matter. This is sprue D. Again, I've sort of cast my eye over this before I open the box, and to be honest, I'm quite impressed really. for what I pay for it, it's alright. I don't have any problems with it so far. I do work under a magnifying lamp, and sometimes that can flag up flash, but to the naked eye it all looks pretty good. So that's sprue D. And these sprues here are practically, I think they're doubled up with another set. No, I'm talking rubbish here. No, well, this is the bomb armament. Yes, they are doubled up. Yeah, they're both sprues are the same. Must be a reason for it. I'm going to probably be using the drop tank on mine and the two bombs. The rest of it, what I tend to do, if I've got any mouldings left over, I cut them off and I put them in a box. And I have been known to sort of fall back on them for other projects. So that's K1 and K2. This is L1 and L2. This is the undercarriage by the looks of it, mainly the wheels. Again, you know, there is flash here I can see with the naked eye, but it's next to nothing, and it won't take a lot to remove. It looks like I've got a choice of smooth or treaded tyres there. I think that's what those sprues are all about. What else have we got here? This sprue N. Undercarriage, tail wheel. Again, I think this is the main drop tank. Just looks like basically undercarriage parts. And that's N. That's frame O. Again, this is all detail for under the actual plane, under the airframe. I should have taken these out of their bags really, shouldn't I? Sellotape, annoying. Right, now this is what everybody's banging on about, the engine detail. And I must admit, the engine detail on this is really good. It's exceptional. And you can build this with the engine cover off and show that engine off. Now, whether I'm going to go down that route, I really don't know. But I am really looking forward to assembling that and giving it a nice paint job. Now, normally on stuff that gets hidden away, I don't normally bother painting, but something like that I might make the effort to, even though it probably won't be seen once the airframe's put together. So yeah, that's what they've all been knocked out about, the actual engine detail. So that's F. We got, oh, it looks like this is doubled up again with the other one by the looks of it. Well, no, it hasn't. It's fell off the lid of the box, isn't it? Sprue B, fuselage. Now, the guys on the YouTube have been saying that the actual lines here are a little bit shallow. I'm not all that bothered about it, to be honest. Panel lines, to me, if they're there and they're still there once you painted it, then fair enough, but I'm not going to go around and sort of make those a lot deeper than what they've actually been molded at. They're probably right, actually, scale wise. So yeah, nothing wrong with the fuselage there. And again, this is the other half, and these are probably the bomb carriage doors, probably, I don't know. Yeah, so that's C, that's B. and we've got sprue A, which is the main lower wing, and you can see there how big that is. I don't know how big that is. What is it? Let's measure it. I know the dimensions are on the box, but let's do it in old-fashioned inches, shall we? 13 inches. 13-inch wingspan on that. Yeah, so all in all, it's looking quite good. Right, there we go, and she's all finished. Now, as you can see, I've actually gone ahead and used that stand. I was adamant at the beginning of the build that I wouldn't use it, but I must admit it did come in handy, and I find it a very good stand actually, and I shall probably use that for future builds. I think it does mean drilling holes on the underneath the wings for it to sit on the support, but I can live with that. It's come in handy for when the paints had to take time to dry off. Instead of placing it on a surface, I've been able to sort of locate it on that stand, and it's been a little godsend that for finishing off the actual plane. Now, the actual fuselage and wings and the tailplane, I never had any issues with it whatsoever. In fact, I haven't used any filler on this, which is unusual for a Revell kit. I thought the actual airframe went together really well, but unfortunately where it's let it down is that engine. I came across quite a lot of shrinkage in those parts to build that engine, and I've done a lot of fettling on it to try and get it to go together. I did spend a bit of time, as you probably noticed. I have actually detailed the engine, knowing full well that it would probably end up being covered, but that was my choice. I did enjoy that actually, detailing that engine. Now the problem I had was when I went to actually dry fit the engine, I noticed that the engine was inclining upwards. Now normally with an aircraft you get a little bit of down thrust, and by eye it was out of alignment by a long way. And it wasn't until I went to sort of dry fit the nose parts that I realized that it wasn't straight at all, and I had to literally butcher that engine. In other words, remove a lot of material from it to get it to sit level so that the front cowling would fit. And I had a lot of problems with that, and it took me 5 evenings to sort it out. So I wasn't too impressed by the way that motor's gone together. Luckily I've actually glued it by eye, and I have actually glued it in the right place, because when the assembly here, the prop assembly went in, the turbo fan there actually went and sat inside that nose really well. So I know that that engine is in the right alignment. So what that was all about, I really don't know, but the actual framework that the engine had to be glued to, I never influenced that at all. It's actually sat and glued exactly where I had to. Now if I'd forced that frame, I can understand why it was kicking the engine out of alignment, but I really don't have an answer as to why that engine was out of alignment. It's a shame really, because it was a nice build up until then, and afterwards when I decided to do the undercarriage, I never had any issues with the undercarriage. Everything seemed to go together as it should do, and it was really good. There's very little difference in the shade of the paint on the wings, and I really should have looked into that before doing this final review, because to me I don't think those colours are right, and I've gone by Revell's suggestion, using the correct RLM codes, paints, but to me there's very little difference in the shade on that, on the camouflage on the wings and on the fuselage. So I might look into that and see if Revell have had a bit of a cock up there. Other than that, the paint job seemed to be okay. I've hand painted the camouflage along the fuselage here. I'm not very good with an airbrush. I'm pretty basic, you know. I can do a good paint job, but when it comes to small detail like that, plus the fact that my needle's 0.4 of a millimeter, and it's quite a large needle, I really could do with going down to 0.2 to do sort of detail like this. But yeah, I'm not that great with an airbrush. So there you go. is it worth the money I paid for it? I personally think it's a little bit overpriced. I know a lot of their 1/32 scale planes are being sold for around the £22 mark, but they are very old tooling, and I don't think this is worth that sort of money. I think it's probably worth £5 or £6 less than what they're charging. Really, it's that it wasn't very good regarding the engine at all. It let it down, and personally I don't think it was worth what I paid for it, although it seems quite good value. Yeah, I don't think it was worth the money. What else is there to talk about? The canopy went on okay. I didn't have any issues with that. That's been glued with PVA. The decals I never had any trouble with. So you know, apart from the fact that that engine let me down, it's been a fairly enjoyable build. Right, so I'm going to get on with the next project. What that is, I don't know yet. I haven't been that prolific on here because I've had a batch of real stinkers in the way of kits, and when I get problems with kits going together, I tend to kick the camera into touch, and where I would probably have 4 or 5 videos on my channel now, I haven't put any up for quite a while because if I get a problem with a kit, I tend to try and focus and get it finished and get on with the next one. But unfortunately, one after the other, they were right stinkers, and I don't want to put videos up on my channel where I'm moaning all the time. Nobody wants to listen to that, do they? So this has been fairly successful anyway. It's been okay. Could have been better. Right, so I'll see you soon, and see you in the new year, probably in 2022. So I'll see you then. Bye.